Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Star Wars Out in the Dark. I will be your storyteller this evening. My name is Will, and in our last episode, the crew came back to Bespin, where they wanted to pick up some stuff from the Neverwhere, as they had a new ship all their own, basically, that they have inherited from Marcuun. As such, they were asked to land on Platform 66, being guided there by Flight Control Agent Arno. They met with a BOSS agent who took their credits for their stay there. And on the way to the Neverwhere, they discovered that they had the majority of them were wanted for escaping prison and for the murder of somebody they didn't actually kill. The banker came up on them from nowhere and escorted them to the Neverwhere. And they have asked a favor of him in renaming the ship and getting it re-registered for Captain Flid. And they have named it the Zatsek in honor of his children. After which, they had a conversation about where they were trying to go, what they were trying to do, and who priority number one was. And they came across a Rhodian who turned out to be Mao, who was looking for Marcuun. And as such, there was a firefight. They met a Riley Gent, who works for some organization that is better equipped at information handling than Major Rames, it seems. But the group also learned that Agent Neura Hayes might be the one pulling Rames's leash. They were given a task by Riley to earn an audience with a person higher up on the food chain than her, and quite possibly even the head of the local chapter of her organization. And we left off with some Trade Federation ships coming into the upper orbit and releasing a swarm of starfighters. And this is where we pick up with everyone. Hello. Good to see you, gentlemen. Excuse me. We'll be missing Katie, so Dr. Shakti, to make it easier on all of us, sees the swarm of ships and suddenly just books it towards the Easy Flyer with the medical equipment in tow, and just yells back, "I'll meet you guys there." And as she kind of disappears, as they disappear down into the rest of the city, excuse me, there are two shapes that are familiar to some of you, that are kind of familiar to Edie. Two triangular ships kind of pop out and in the upper atmosphere, and they also release starfighters, and you see that there is an engagement between the Trade Federation and the Republic above Bespin. Mm-hmm. As some of the Trade Federation starfighters fly by you, you will notice that each of them has these two orbs, one underneath either wing. And as they swing by more of the upper areas, you can see them dropping them like little bombs. But there's no explosion.
We should break for the ship.
Yeah, this isn't our this isn't our fight.
We should definitely. Running is good.
And I'll start.
Dr. Shakti
Taking
had
them.
the right idea.
Yep.
Actually, we need to get the key for the ship.
Yeah.
Remember, I gave it to your friend Edie so that they could change it out of the name of Jinx and these people so that it would be our ship.
They didn't do it right then and there?
No.
You have to get
Alright,
to
we're gonna go,
his contacts.
go get the key to the ship. Awesome.
Awesome! Wow.
What could possibly go wrong, right?
Can we just what is
Yeah.
it when you put the wires together?
Hot wire.
Hot wire.
Can we just hotwire them everywhere?
You could try to hot wire the Neverwhere if you want to take the Neverwhere.
It's right there.
And we're just gonna leave Dr. Shakti to her own devices.
He was gonna
Part
mess
of
up
me
the
feels
other
like
ship.
she wants to be for a bit. They want to be for a bit.
No, we have like I said, that's not our fight.
Yep.
As long as the Republic's distracted, that takes off less concern on whatever we're doing.
You have more important things to take
Misdirection.
care of.
So what is the game plan? Because you had a list of things you wanted to get accomplished on Bespin. Some of them have been taken care of.
So we definitely need to try to figure out about these high value targets for this girl, because that's our way in to be able to get the top of the list revenge on the major and the agent whose name I will not give credit to. He's like Voldemort.
It's like yeah, the unnamed one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
There's also the whole situation that you wanted to handle with the ladies.
that's what I was about to say. I think that's my next step. Because his body's sitting in there and in the ship, and I want to try to bring some kind of a resolution to that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna look down at the ED body and then look back up at both of them and just, can we swap out this for Marcuun and take it to his fiance?
Well, I'm not going to carry a body through the streets of Bespin.
Yeah, especially we're wanted. It's not good.
But
That's a
we
fair
can
point.
take it to we can drop this off at the ship. Before the doctor leaves, can she carry that will? Would she be able to carry that or no?
I think so. I think they have
Yeah?
the strength for it.
Because I was going to say just hand it off to her
Let's make see.
Okay.
See?
as she's leaving.
Let's take a look at her character sheet for a second. Strength 3 die? Yeah.
Doctor, please protect this with your life.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Alright. I'm now unencumbered.
Sounds just like Dr. Shakti.
Right?
It's like looking in a weird mirror.
Don't forget, all of Flint's food is inside the ED chest.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do my best.
all the food is in the. Yeah, we can't. That body cannot get destroyed.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
A lot of valuables in there.
Sure.
How's my
I
lightsaber?
put the hood back up.
Yeah, it's still in the thigh slot.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got
Your
plans.
lightsaber with no crystal in it?
Hey. You don't have to do
I'm
that.
just asking. I'm just saying. I'm just.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were attacking me.
It's a
I'm
valid
sorry.
question. It's a
No.
valid question.
No, yeah.
And if I did attack you, you couldn't block because you don't have a blade for your lightsaber.
Mmm.
Good night, folks. I was gonna.
Oh.
What is it? What is it? The kids say, "Got him."
Got him.
Ouch.
Cut it out. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. So I'm gonna start walking towards the elevator.
Okay.
Same.
So
Walk a few paces behind Xylas, so as not to draw
drop.
attention to ourselves.
Okay.
Is there specific markings on the BD08 body that that give it that like show this is Trade Federation, or is it the whole model itself that's Trade Federation?
The whole model is Trade Federation.
Okay, but the Republic has them as well.
Some of them have used it. Clearly, there has been an issue between the Republic and the Trade Federation, however.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay. All right. Fuck it. All right. I guess yeah. All right. I follow behind.
Yep. As you guys make your way towards the elevator, you can see what looks to be those metallic orbs that the fighters have released, kind of sitting there, dormant for right now. And as the elevator arrives, you notice that there's a pulse wave that kind of extends over the city. There's a moment where your current programming is almost overridden, but the failsafes that you have kind of keep you in place. But you see that the orbs suddenly sprout these 3 legs, and as they pop up, you notice that all the orbs that have been dropped onto the city's upper sections are all destroyer droids.
Oh no.
And as your elevator,
There's a bunch of destroyer droids.
yeah, and as the elevator starts to descend and the doors start to close, you can just hear the heavy blaster fire as they start to kind of open fire on the city itself.
Oh no. They're just like big droidicas, just like giant, or are they like normal sized?
They're normal sized, but their normal size is like they're 8 feet tall.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, they're tall.
1.83 meters to feet is they stand at 6 feet. They could
Yeah.
play basketball.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
fully standing up
that's-
on their tippy toes. It's like they can get to 8 feet, 8 or 9 feet. They're big.
this is definitely not a good sign. We need to move quickly.
As long as it doesn't interfere with our plans.
Remember what I told you, patience is a virtue. You will get your revenge.
The elevator opens up on the lower levels, the trade district that you kind of spent some time in, and you can see people are just like running around. Excuse me. There's a wild kind of hysteria as the monitors show that there are destroyer droids kind of like patrolling the city, shooting down different kind of resistance. Anybody in the Republic like uniform is being targeted. It is wild up in the upper levels.
Oh, the Republic's getting shot. Oh no.
Would it be possible to like break into their comms of like try to see like if there's a reasoning behind it, like for the attack?
Talking about the Trade Federation?
Yeah.
Ooh. Let's have you make a roll.
First roll of the night.
Let's
Yeah.
go, boys.
Get a good one.
Let's see that one on the wild
30.
die. Oh no. 31.
Does that mean I get a force point?
You can get a force
Oh.
point, yes.
God, yes.
Excuse me. There's a moment where you kind of have this thought to yourself and you piggyback off of the signal that tried to override you. and you can hear some of the chatter. They're looking for high target, high profile targets as far as the Republic is concerned. Among them is Major Rames, his lieutenants. But you also know, you hear that there is a third Republic cruiser that's currently underway to arrive, and that they're trying to fight off the two that are currently up in orbit, and they're losing. You can tell that they're losing because they're concentrating on dropping off as many droids as possible. The two Republic ships that are in orbit currently are called the Iotan and the Buranthi. And you know that there are a handful, maybe 3 or 4 shuttles that got through the fighter kind of net that they've laced. And they assume that it's shuttles that weren't on the actual 2 cruisers that are there, like they might have dropped out of hyperspace to let them loose, because they did not see them coming out of the Republic cruisers. So there's a lot of talk about the underhanded tactics of the Republic.
Could I, with that same role, could I ping off the last known location I have for like the prison?
Yeah, it's in the upper levels.
Okay, I just want to fucking paint it up to them, just so they know like this is the last location of Major Rames.
Okay.
So, do we want to use this as a distraction and go after him?
That's what I'm thinking. I feel like this is now the best time to strike. We have reinforcements that we didn't expect.
This is true. What do you think, Captain?
Oh, that will be me, huh? Oh, much responsibility right now. Yeah. So, we get Rames. Be to our advantage right now, especially with all this pandemonium that's going on. Good idea.
Tread very carefully, though. Tread very, very carefully here. Don't use your real names.
You can call me BD.
Clever.
BD0808. And I point to the name on the droid.
So a new name, huh?
Just think of something. Hopefully, nobody will bother you, but it's always good to have a name or two in your back pocket.
Okay.
So I've heard.
Sure. Just call me.
Call me Ishmael.
Call me Pars.
Ours?
Okay. Pars.
Parsley.
Okay.
That is clever.
Yeah.
So then I look at you guys. And then I just kind of like look down. I'm just kind of. You see me kind of just think a little bit. I'm like, Xylas is. You can hear me mumbling. Well, Xylas is blown here. Like, all right then. They have Morgan here. Gonna head take over there. They're gonna go out there. Get the major. Go ahead, take care of all that.
I look at Flynn.
If
I could be deadpanning, I'm deadpanning at you.
Yeah, I slowly look at BD or ED
You like
or
dogs?
whatever. I look back.
This is my least favorite of all of them.
Are you speaking common language now? What was that?
This
Well, it's common
language
for
is
the
not
area.
in my memory.
Common for the area. You just got to know about it. But we should get going. And I just kind of like shake my head. I'm like, let's just go.
What
We should-
what
we
was
should-
the name?
Dev Morgan.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is not what
Yeah.
it sounds
Even-
like.
Even Barnaby, like who's in your hands, he just kind of shakes his head very softly.
Let me add this to the long list. This is getting longer than my Netflix, my Netflix watch list.
So I guess we'll start making our way towards Major Range then.
So you came down to the trade district to tell the girls, and now you're gonna go back up.
Oh, that's true. We're
Yeah.
here already, bro.
Yeah.
Let me take care of
this. They deserve to know.
I'm walking with my head down, hood up.
Yeah, you see that as you get to, excuse me, as you get to the Gunslinger, there's a sudden crash, and then you hear 2 shots fired. And then
This is from inside.
and then you hear one of the girls, "I told you once. I'm not gonna tell you again. He's not here. I don't know where he is, and I will shoot you if you come any closer."
Well, I draw my gun and walk inside.
Same.
Okay. You see something that you've never seen before. The creature that the 2 of them are pointing their guns at. One of them is more timid than the other. Like you can see the gun shaking. The other one looks like she's had to be the kind of main muscle of the 2 of them. But they're pointing their guns at what looks to be this kind of anthropomorphic feline, but it has a very kind of thick weasel-like tail and these very furry or fur-covered kind of feathered wings that sprout from its like mid-back, almost its lower back section. It stands a good 8.5 feet tall. And it looks like it has a very simple kind of linen vest and what looks to be a sash or bandolier of some sorts that kind of comes down to a messenger bag. Unarmed. There's a little bit, there's a simple kind of belt around his waist that kind of hangs to one side, just out of like natural, pull of the form. His fur is dark brown with white streaks that kind of come down on either side of its spine and race up the kind of wing tops, and some of his feathers are actually like spotted with little bits of white, and some of them are even just like full white, but most of them are just black, dark brown. And as the doors kind of swing open, he turns to look at the 3 of you coming in, turns back to them. "I simply came for Marcuun because I was asked to. There are contingency plans in case something happened to him. I need to make sure he's still alive. That's all."
There seems to be a much nicer way of saying that, asking that question.
He turns to the
And then
to the 3
And
of
I
you.
do
He's
the
like,
dramatic head lift.
"This doesn't concern you. This is a private matter."
Oh, it concerns me more than you think. See, those ladies are under my protection. And you seem to be causing a hell of a mess in here. I don't take too kindly to that. Now, I've seen Marcuun. But that's my business. None of yours.
I need to know where he is.
I need to know a lot of things. But, alas, I don't get all the answers that I seek. So, get used to disappointment. Now, I believe the ladies asked you nicely, seeing as how the shots didn't go and get into your skin, fur, feathers, I don't know, you pick. I'm sure they're not going to be as nice again. Now, if I see Marcuun
back to be able to look at everyone. I need to know where Marcuun is. That's all.
Why don't you start by telling us who you are? I would listen to everything he just told you, and I point up to Xylas.
You see him slam his tail. I don't want time for niceties.
I know the species. I rode already.
Oh yeah?
For alien species.
12. You've never encountered this species on your own. You've heard some things about winged creatures, but there's so many things across the galaxy, it's hard to kind of pinpoint one species altogether. You've heard that there's like at least 4 or 5 species with wings that kind of have hyperspace technology.
I actually put my gun away, and I'm gonna start walking towards, and I'm just gonna completely ignore him, and I'm gonna walk over to, and forgive me, but I have a ton of pages of notes.
Yeah.
Whichever one is the one that was with Marcuun, or with.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
The one that's sure of themselves, the one without the shaking gun.
And just walk over to her, and I'm like,
Krilla.
Oh, dear Krilla. And I look back, I side eye the guy, and I'm like,
yeah,
come with me for a moment.
She
and I kind of like
she looks at the other one. Yeah, she looks at the other one and she nods. And you see the winged creature kind of start to step towards you as you walk with her away.
I draw the gun without looking, and I just point at him. And I go, I said I needed to speak to her.
He holds his hands up.
And then I flip, I kind of twirl it, and I put it back in. And then I turn to walk.
Yep.
I told you so. I told you should listen to him.
I would like to walk up to him and just like ask for his identification.
I actually look at the other one, and I tell her, pour this man a drink on my tab.
She kind of gives you a strange look. Excuse me. And
We're all friends here. And I look at him, right?
And he looks down at the droid. He's just like, step away.
That was pretty rude, but sure, enjoy your drink, I guess.
He steps over to the bar. And
I hope it's put.
With a heavy sigh, he plops down onto a stool. You step to the other side of the bar with Krilla, and she looks at you Her blaster pistol still in her hand.
I grab it and I just kind of put it on the table. And I grab her hands
Go.
and I just look at them like, I take the hood off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Krilla, I don't have good news for you, my dear.
She's like, what do you mean?
And I'm not saying this loud. I'm whispering this to
yeah.
her.
She's like, she
I'm
follows suit too. She's like, what do you mean?
It's Dulvin.
You know his name? He told you his secret?
Yes. Yes.
Did he go back to deal with it?
He didn't fill me in fully on everything, but we were captured and he fought bravely to get us out, but was wounded during the escape. Gravely, I'm afraid.
Is he okay?
He's at peace now.
There's a moment where she just kind of looks down, and then very quietly she just kind of, still looking down underneath her breast, she's just like, does Jix know? Does Mao know?
Mao is also dead, but died before.
Her hands come up to her mouth. It is cursed.
You're talking about the thing.
Yeah.
Well, in I wouldn't say curse per se. Mao wasn't exactly kind and welcoming, and was quite aggressive. I will tell you that I had no involvement in her actual demise. Or his, sorry, Rodian. The Rodian Mao was a guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In his demise.
Mm.
But and I go to her, I'm like, I brought him back to you. Couldn't just dump his body out or do anything, especially with the relationship that I've grown with him. And I pull out the blaster and I show her the inscription. I'm like, he did this for me. And I will never forget that. And
you see her right hand come up to her stomach. And she looks at you. She's just like, I don't know what to do. He was going to get rid of that thing in the ship, and he was going to get rid of his shop, and we were just going to invest everything into this place. And now I have nothing to show for it.
That's not true, child. That is not true at all. And I put my hand on her belly. I'm like, you have this. You have him. I can't promise I will be here all the time, but just know that you, and I look at both her and the other girl, and I'm just like, both of you not only have each other, but you have us. Especially me.
She points at the monitors, at the hollow projectors, and she's like, there's a war on the upper levels. Like, what is there There's no point in moving forward without him.
You need to move on for him. This is not what he would want from you. He would want you to continue to raise this gift, or two, I'm not sure, but you need to live on for him, for his memory. You need to show he or she that type of person that his or her father was. You have a duty to do that. I have the ship. He left us the ship. If you want me to take you, I can talk to the captain, but we can definitely take you somewhere if need be. If you just don't want to be here anymore, sell the shop, put it up for sell the bar, move somewhere. We can transport you and get you out of here.
She looks at you. She's just like, there's only one person who can help us if that's the case. I don't know what he'll do if we tell him that Marcuun is dead. That Dolvin. And you see her kind of pained at the expression of his name.
Are you referring to, and I look over to the feline?
She shakes her head. No, I don't know who that is. Talking about chicks.
We've seen that name on the ship. Who is this Jix?
I met him once when Dolvin came to Bespin. He's a little guy, and there's a bit of a smile that finally comes onto her face. It's the first sign of humanity that you've seen since the news hit her. He's a Gand. Had a little bit of a robotic voice because of his apparatus to kind of help him breathe. He was like an older brother to Dolvin. He tried to be an older brother to Marcuun, to Mao. Sorry. So many names, so many pasts for nothing.
Child, do you know where the item is? We were on the ship, and we met Radio, but he was not too forthcoming with the location of the item.
There's a bit of a quiet giggle, and she's like, "It's not surprised he hasn't imploded. I think Radio will outlive all of us." The item isn't on the ship. Dolvin wouldn't have been so careless. And you see that she goes over to, and all of them, you've all seen the exchange that's happened, at least visually, like the hand on the belly, things like that. And then you see her kind of move over to the painting, the relief of what is Xylas on the wall. Excuse me. She goes over, and you see her push her weight against the depiction of the holster, and there's a heavy click that kind of resounds in the empty bar and the holster drops down, and there's a small cylindrical object that seems to glow with under its own power. It's about maybe 7 inches long, about 2.5 inches in diameter. And she pulls it out, and she walks back over to you, and she hands it to you.
And grab it.
That's what everybody's been looking for.
This little thing has caused a whole mess of trouble.
Yeah, it has. And you see she kind of puts her hands in yours as she kind of fumbles to turn it on. Excuse me. And as you hear the little click, the room is suddenly awash in a galactic map. It's old, and it's very familiar to Edie. This is the map that you remember the galaxy existing in. Xylas and Flid don't recognize it because the borders have changed. New sectors have been found. It's been expanded. You can see the original kind of core systems like Coruscant, things like that. But Edie, you notice that there's a system that is particularly highlighted. And she goes over and she stands underneath it. And she just points at it. She's like, This is what everybody's after.
I know that system.
You know of it. You've never been to it. It was a system that was highly protected by the Jedi. The knowledge of it rarely left any of the Jedi temples. Knowledge of it was really policed. It was supposed to be the heart of the system has a non-ice planet that produces kyber crystals. She kind of walks over to you, and then she turns it off. And then she goes back behind the bar. And she pours the strange creature another drink. And as she slides it to him, she just looks at him and is like, he's dead. He passed. So, whatever contingency he mentioned, it's come to pass. And you see him
put away the cylinder as she says that.
Yeah, you see him kind of stand up. He takes the drink down in one gulp. And he looks at them and he's like, I understand. Where is his shop? I need to set things straight before anyone else gets to it.
I walk up to him, like I go right up to him.
Yeah.
I'm just like, now you understand my delay in wanting to reveal that information. I felt it only right that she hear the news first and not make it a public forum or event. But yeah, I can show you to a shop.
He nods at you and he's just like, I understand this ideal, but it is not my way. Dolvin set things in motion a long time ago, and if you are going to be in charge of the cylinder, then I need to fulfill the role I was given.
Well, we can certainly show you the way. I look over to Krilla. I'm like, if you'd like, I can give you where the ship is docked, so you can collect whatever you need to.
She nods.
So I just I grab a piece of paper, if there's something around the bar, and I hand it to her.
Yep.
Because I don't know this guy, so I just put like Starport 66.
Yeah.
Alice? It'd be wise to let them go by themselves. But who else might know? They might come looking for them, trying to get to Marcuun.
She can now tell them the truth. And they shouldn't, once the word gets out, they won't be bothered. Plus, and I point to, because I'm guessing where she shot, she shot a wall or the roof or something.
Yeah. There's 2 blaster marks where he was standing, like to either side of his feet.
Yeah, I'm like, and I look down and I'm like, she missed on purpose. She can handle her own. And I turn around to both of them and I just kind of back out as I'm walking out, and I'm assuming the feline is walking out with us.
Yeah.
And I just go, till we meet again, my dears.
They nod at you. And as all of you exit, you see the roll down door come down, and the sign for the gunslinger turns over to closed. And as you walk with this winged feline, you see that he keeps looking back at Edie and just kind of like shaking his head as he moves with you.
Is there something that I can help you with?
He stops and he looks at you. He's just like, I don't like droids.
Lucky for you, I am not one. And I keep walking.
And I go up to him, like I just walk next to him. I just like pat him, and I just go, "Looks can be deceiving, my friend. Looks can be deceiving." And I go, by the way, and I kind of like, as I put my hoodie back up, I'm like, name's Xylas, and I put it up.
He doesn't extend a hand or anything, but he just goes, Garrick.
The pleasure's mine.
When you get to, because he's not one for small talk.
Yeah.
And when you get to the shop, you see him kind of slide an identification chip, and the door opens for him.
Okay.
He walks in, and you see him just grab whatever is already built, and he looks over at the three of you. He's like, if there is anything you need here, I recommend taking it now.
Is there like a suppressor that I could put on the blaster rifle?
No. Can't suppress blaster fire.
Yeah, you can. It just comes out of smoke.
Just trying to be quiet, that's all.
I go into the little room.
There's firearms for that. You can suppress firearms.
Oh yeah.
Like guns, like our guns.
Okay.
I go into the little room with Garrett.
Okay. You see that he's starting to melt some of the stuff that he's made. He's trying just to make ingots. He's collecting stuff. What are you looking for?
Look to see if there's a gauntlet or shield, just like the one he had given to Dr. Shakti. See if there's another one.
There isn't a discus. It was a one of a kind.
Yeah, discus.
But there is a kind of kite shield that is there, or rather the outline of a kite shield. Like it has the cross, it has the kite shield outline in metal. But you notice that the straps, the outer one, the one where the hand would go, there's a button there, kind of like the Rocketeer's button on his glove. And if you hit it while you put on the shield, you will hear a hum, and there'll be a slight kind of haze of blue light that washes over the area where the shield is.
Nice.
I'll grab that.
Okay.
Dr. Shakti, just in case.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna generally look around to see if he's got any little gadgets and gizmos, since he was like doing all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I'm good with blasters for the most part, but if I could find something interesting, you know.
You see, as you're kind of looking around, and you the small room in the back is really just has a cot, kind of some bedding, things like that. Like, it's a very simple room. There's a table to the side, and you can see that there's a data pad that isn't password protected. If you just open it, you can see that there's designs that he was kind of coming up with. There's the whole schematic for the shield, and the kind of the use of the miniaturized use of what a bay door, or a kind of what's it called, like a ship's starport would use to kind of keep air in. It uses the same kind of thing, same kind of principle, but it's used to kind of reflect blaster fire.
I'm gonna take a data pad.
Okay. One of the last images you see, though, is what looks like little additions to like metallic versions of different kind of dressings, like a shirt, like a trench coat, like coat tails, and just kind of like amusing notes on them. But they're all the sizes are tiny, like they would fit Barnaby.
Making Barnaby clothes?
Maybe.
I look around to see if anything was made.
No, but you do see that there's a little kind of humanoid stand that has modeling clay that's kind of been placed on it that looks like Barnaby.
Oh my god, I'm gonna kill all these people. I'm gonna kill all of them.
Let me clear my throat. Hold on.
Yeah.
I wanna look around and see if I see, guys, that data pad, if there's any pictures, photographs, or anything of emotional attachment that he might have had with Brilla himself, or anything like that.
There is nothing here that gives you any sign that he had a life outside of the shop. It's very excuse me. Like, Xylas would recognize that kind of situation as kind of like making sure that there's no trails, there's no cookie crumbs to lead back to a regular life. Like, this is a man who purposely kept himself, as far as his establishment is concerned, with just the work at hand. Like, you can see, if you really kind of like look through it, there are sections in his drawings where there's a second different distinct handwriting. So it looks like he might have taken this data pad with him whenever he was with her, and they might have like made notes to each other and those are the things that kind of exist. But to the untrained eye, there's nothing here that kind of gives you an idea of a life outside of this. And once Garrick has kind of melted down everything, kind of made ingots, he'll take out what looks to be a briefcase made for this. Like, it's a thick kind of airport style heavy duty thing, and he puts the ingots in it. And then there's a moment where he goes into the small room. He folds up the cot like a Murphy bed. He folds up the desks into the walls, and there's a satisfying click with each of the things that he kind of folds up. And once the room is bare, you hear a thump, and the floor of the room starts to descend.
Like an elevator?
Yep, like an elevator.
I jump on that shit.
Okay.
So do I.
Yep.
Well, I was still in the room.
Yeah. All of you. I assume that all of you were there. And as it goes down about 10 feet, and you can see that there's another entire place underneath the shop. And you see what looks to be just a collection of illicit goods. There's weapons that shouldn't be there, rifles, handguns like firearms, synth rope dispensers, knives of different sizes and shapes and cutting styles.
Are there kyber crystals?
There are no kyber crystals. But Garrett kind of goes over and he starts collecting some of the stuff. And he just looks at you guys like, anything you need, please take. I'll most likely just sell this to whoever I can.
So you said there's like synthetic. It's like a synthetic rope.
Yeah, it's a dispenser of synthetic rope. It's imagine a kind of a CD shaped dispenser, like it's a CD sized. It's maybe 6 inches tall though, and there's like a little nozzle where the rope would dispense. It's kind of it's light because it is liquid until it's dispensed, and once it's dispensed, the rope just kind of takes on a solid form, and then it's rope for whatever distance. Each canister is kind of good for 10 meters, 20 meters usually of rope.
Cool. I would like to take some canisters of that.
Sure.
Charlie Bronson's always got rope.
Doesn't know what he needs it for, but he always has it.
He always has it. Oh, what do you need the rope for?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take. How many are there?
There's 6 in total.
I'll grab a bag and put the 6 in there.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that you would imagine anybody could come in looking for wet work. You know, there's stuff to kind of appease anybody's appetite. There's glow rods, there's recording rods, there's data pads that are blanked.
Okay. I mean, am I having? Is it a fire sale? I'm gonna take. Nobody else is taking anything. I'm literally.
I don't
just
know
like,
what I need. If there's
Hey,
any
I'm taking-
ammunition, I'll pick it up.
Hey, you may not.
Taking
You
data
don't know
pad.
if you need it, but yeah, I'm taking a data pad. I'm taking a blank data pad. I might start journaling. Who knows? I'm gonna take. There's glow rods and recording rods. I don't know when I'm gonna need to record something, but you know what? I'm gonna have a recording rod.
I have a recording
Oh, I
system
will,
built
yeah.
into me.
All right. Well, you don't need
But we're
one.
not all built. We're not all built like you, man.
I'm built different.
Yeah.
How many glow rods are there?
There are a dozen, easily.
Cool. So there's a dozen missing glow rods.
After everything, we're gonna open up our own black market. That's it. So
And
Is there
then
any
you said that there's
spare
recording
ammunition?
rods?
There's what?
Go ahead, Brandon.
Is there any like spare ammunition lying around?
Oh yeah, there's
Just-
tons of it. There's
All right, I'm
boxes
gonna
of it.
fucking just
Oh,
grab a bunch then for all of us.
yeah.
You can easily take like a good 20 cartridges of ammunition and not make a dent in his collection.
Okay. I like it. I
Is
can't
there
think of
anything I
anything else.
can? I just want to know, like, is there anything I can add on to like the blaster rifle to make it stronger? I guess that's there, like an attachment of some kind.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You can just you would have to like actually modify it. So
Then is there an already like are there heavier duty rifles down here then?
oh yeah, there's sniper rifles.
Oh, I'll pick one of those up.
I'll take one of those bad boys. Okay.
Take a
Do you want an energy blaster rifle, a sniper rifle, or do you want a ballistic sniper rifle?
What is the actual difference?
One uses
Take all three.
blaster and one uses firearms.
I guess a blaster one because I just took a bunch of cartridges of blaster ammunition.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna take if they have a handgun, like a firearms gun,
They do. There's a few.
and if they have silencers
They do.
or any modifications.
They do have silencers.
Okay, I'm gonna take one of those, and I'm gonna take a couple clips of ammo from that.
Okay.
Is there a jetpack?
There's no jetpack.
Dang.
Just let me down gently and just,
No, there is no jetpack.
So wait, Edie, what is it that you can do now, Edie? You have melee or
I have blaster, I have melee combat, and I have brawling.
okay? So melee combat, you can use anything. So if they have like batons or like a sword or something, you can
Yeah.
use that.
They do have stun batons.
I'll grab one then as well.
Okay. Yeah, there's
I feel like
there's
I-
regular knives, there's vibro knives, there's regular swords, there's vibro swords.
Well, I have a vibro rapier, but
A
I
vibro
might
sword
take it.
count as melee combat?
Yeah. There's a
I'll
there's a
take that
vibro
instead.
axe too.
oh, Edie.
Yeah.
Vibro axe
Yeah.
you get the axe.
and sniper rifle.
The axe. Get the axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody in our group needs to carry an axe.
Yeah, the vibro axe is
Yeah.
a good two bladed kind of bearded axe. It's about 7 feet tall.
Oh. Is there any like armor that I could put over to hide the crystal?
I mean, there's a couple of blast
Oh.
vests, but
Okay.
they're made for like humanoid characters. It's not like
Cool.
droids.
I'm gonna put that right over my chest area. I'm gonna get one of those and put it right on. Cover
Same
up this
here.
wound right here.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a gaping
yeah.
hole in my heart.
All right.
My whole structure is just showing. I would like to cover it somehow.
Hey, keep asking for stuff, Brandon, because you're giving me more things that I didn't think about
Oh,
asking for.
Is there a lightsaber hidden somewhere?
I mean, make a search roll.
Oh,
can I search?
Will?
I'll do a search roll too.
Yeah. Anybody
Alright,
anybody
I'm
who wants to
gonna-
look around can make a search roll.
I can add character points after.
Yep, up to 2.
Of course.
1 on the wall
So-
die.
2 character points.
I'm gonna Put
Nice.
that vest underneath my hoodie.
Yep. So 13, a 12 total,
Literally
and then
1 and a 1.
yeah. And then a 12 with a 1 on the wall die. No, yeah, as you guys are looking around, you see that you find the blast vests, you find the handguns, nothing exotic of any kind. There does look like there's a case that might have contained some grenades, but it's empty. It's like an empty egg carton.
Okay.
there is one piece of ammunition of an explosive that you do see that there is, but there's only one of them, and it's an anti-tank mine.
How much would you reckon that weighs?
Like 25 pounds?
I reckon enough. I reckon enough for a droid to carry it.
No, with my altar being what it is, would I be able to lift that with telekinesis?
With a good roll, maybe.
Don't drop it, because it.
I mean,
Well,
it needs repulsor
die?
lift engines to set it off.
I have repulsor lift repair, repulsor lift operations.
No, like something hovering over it with repulsor lift engines to turn it on,
Oh,
to activate
okay.
its
So
explosive
like
capabilities.
set it, and then when people drive over it, it goes off.
Yes.
Set it and forget it.
Exactly. I guess we're grabbing mine. No? Yeah.
I mean, if you grab it, Garrick will look at you guys like, is there a need for that where you're going?
Look at Silas.
It's better to have it than not need it. Than need it and not have it.
I mean,
What he said.
I'm not going to judge. I'm just here to wipe the slate clean for Dolvin.
Do we really want to take it, though?
I
Like,
don't
now
think
he's making
so.
me question it.
I don't think so. I'm just
good.
imagining us walking around the city with a 25
Anti-tank
pound mine.
mine.
Yep.
But watch, then something's going to come up.
Oh no, we're gonna
Where
leave
would-
this building. And there's gonna be a tank outside.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh no, sorry. The door. You know what? Take it. Take it. Take it. We'll put it out there in the universe. I'm taking it. And you know what? I'm going to find somebody to modify it so I can breach a door with it.
Exactly. The fact that Chewie put that there for us to take is gonna come and bite us later on. If we don't.
Yeah. That's why Will's like, oh, there's blast vests. Oh wait, I'm going on a 4 person raid against the major. Yeah, maybe I should have a blast vest on since I died already once from getting shot in the chest.
Are there any flashbangs?
No. All the grenade boxes are all empty.
Can't think of anything else.
Is there any other hidden compartments? This room?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, there's a few that Garrick goes over and he opens them and pulls out stuff from them, but there's nothing too wild. Excuse me.
I don't think there's anything else. I think at this point.
Yeah.
All right.
Just I want to be able to cover my crystal. That's all I want to do.
I mean, there's plenty of like street clothes there that you could just put on.
No one's gonna question the droid wearing a casual T-shirt.
Yeah.
Hell, you know what? Let's go. I'm also putting on a tank top. Isn't everyone wearing tank tops?
Nobody's wearing tank tops.
I thought Silas was wearing a tank top, like a
Well,
sleeveless
Like
hoodie.
he said it was a sleeveless hoodie. Yeah,
A sleeveless hoodie.
I want one.
not a tank top.
We're not a bunch of Guidos.
I'm wearing a sleeveless hoodie with a blaster vest underneath.
Same here.
Faux show.
Yeah. There's a hoodie
You're right.
there if you want to rip off the sleeves.
Hell yeah, I'm done. Yeah, it's already there.
Okay.
Actually, maybe you shouldn't rip off the sleeves because you're a droid, so we should cover it as much as possible. But yeah, never mind. Rip it off. Fine.
Yeah. Just a bunch of frayed threads coming out of his sleeves. He's living life,
not like-
bro.
It's like the bottom half of me is droid.
Yeah,
Let me get you some slacks.
it's the best image I've
We'll,
ever
we'll
seen.
work on it.
It's just the little thin battle droid legs coming out of a sleeveless hoodie.
I just saw the image.
Yeah,
Hey, Will, random question.
gangster.
This is a really like specific question.
Sure.
Do they have a bandolier of throwing knives?
Not a bandolier, no, but there are throwing knives.
Because didn't Shakti like throwing weapons?
Maybe, yeah.
I'll grab some of those throwing knives.
A bunch of throwing knives for Shakti.
Yeah.
How many throwing knives are there?
I mean, in total, there's like a dozen.
He'll
Take
love
'em all.
that.
Mhm.
Likes to throw things. She likes to throw things.
Okay, so we're gonna make a quick pit stop at the ship because we have to drop this shit off. And we just throw the bag in. Here, radio. Organize all this into the secret shelf.
You can say that to
Oh,
radio
wow.
and you can see what happens.
Oh boy.
All right, fine. The captain will say it to him.
No, Radio's not with us though yet.
No.
No. Radio's in the ship.
So are we going to
Do it. Take your time. Figure it out.
Roger. Are we going to make the attack now or wait?
Well, I think we are slightly over encumbered to do a
Yes,
full
I'm-
frontal assault.
Holding the mine.
I would suggest us maybe going back to the ship and slimming down a little bit on what we're carrying.
Roger.
Garrick,
He nods.
it was a pleasure. I'm sure our paths will cross in the future.
We will see.
Stay safe.
May the force be with you.
Don't talk to me.
Just nod my head.
I only
Shut up.
ever have met rude people on Bespin.
No, you didn't. Krilla wasn't rude to you.
Not at
No,
all.
they were very sweet. They're sweet angels.
Yeah. And as you're talking, the elevator is already going back up while Garrick stays below.
I throw a thermal detonator down there. Sucker!
And none of you will ever know what's underneath the elevator. But as
Oh!
As you leave.
Mother, you mother.
Yeah.
It's like 5 lightsabers underneath the elevator.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
game all over again.
And like all kind of lightsabers.
All of them, like the lightsaber staff.
They're
Like
the
a
triple-bladed
lightsaber
lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Just that's where he keeps his lightsaber collection.
A collection of kyber crystals that light everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be careful! This affects you too now.
Yeah. Well, did you not reach out with the force while we were down there?
Nope.
Oh, I'm.
You did ask if there was kyber crystals.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna
Visually, there were none.
I'm just gonna
Visually.
real quick. I'm just gonna send the elevator back down.
Why would you ask?
That's 22.
It's like I said we would see each other shortly.
Yeah. No. As you guys leave, you start to make your way to the new ship, to Zatzak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should head back to the ship, make sure the girls got there, make sure the Shakti's there, and off all this stuff.
Yeah.
And plan to.
Are you going to try and avoid any of the droidicas, or are you going to
Oh yeah.
use some of this new equipment to smoke some droids.
No, bro, what? They're fighting the Republic. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Could I use like my computer mind and telecommunication to keep us out of the pathway of the droidicas?
For sure, easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and make your roll.
21.
21. Nice. Sure enough, you kind of stop every so often just to kind of let your senses extend outward, the electromagnetic kind of net that you cast out every time that you kind of search for electronic equipment, and you see the typical kind of like door controls, you see elevator controls, and you start to notice what the actual kind of threading of the droidicas kind of looks like. And you start to kind of create a mental image of what to avoid moving forward, and it becomes very simple to just kind of stop, push out, and then get a mental image of what's there, and then kind of change your trajectory or alter your trajectory in a way, one way, shape, or form. And when you get to platform 66, you see a group of the bankers kind of standing there in mid-conversation with Dr. Shakti. Krilla and her friend also kind of roll up at the same time. A couple of bags in each of their hands. But you see that as you come out onto the platform, the banker sees you. Excuse me. And the main one with the gold trim smiles as he comes over, holding out his long-fingered hand in his little palm. He has the same kind of identification disc that you gave him. My friends, I have brought the disc as you have asked. And he kind of looks at Flid. And he nods. He's like, Captain, I believe this is yours. You're muted.
You muted.
On my hand. Thank you. I put on my hand and thank you.
Of course.
This means so much.
Yes. I have taken the privilege and pleasure of changing the call sign on the outside of the ship as well. And as he says that, you can see that there is a droid kind of hovering, taking out the Arabesh kind of writing that says the Easy Flyer, and you can just see it writing in the Zatzek onto the side of the ship. I did not think that this would be something you would have been displeased about. He looks at everything you have, and he looks at Edie kind of holding that large anti-tank mine in his hands. Are you also leaving Bespin behind?
Not yet. I do have a question for you, though.
Please.
Are there starfighters still just flying above us?
Yeah.
I just look at them, and after a beat, I look back at him, and I go, "Can you explain this?"
Of course. There is chatter that got back to the Trade Federation that someone in the Republic has been using Bespin as a kind of illicit ground for, shall we say, nefarious deeds. And as such, part of the treaty that was kind of drafted over Bespin has been null and void. And so the Trade Federation is claiming its rights again. It's unfortunate, but it also works with the window of my clan, as we were looking for a reason to go back to Naboo.
So, I am, as we have discussed before, I am not from this time. Are the Trade Federation and Banking Clan not the same?
There are some of us who back the Federation, and there are some of us, like myself, who prefer not to dirty our hands with that business.
I understand.
Do you believe that the Trade Federation will be able to deal with the Republic and stake the rightful claim or not?
It is possible. The Republic cruisers that I see overhead are standard, so regular pilots might give the Trade Federation droids a run for their money, but without the Jedi, I don't see them being able to turn the tide.
They are capable of taking on 3 Republic cruisers.
There
That
were
was
only
a question.
there are only 2.
There is a 3rd on its way.
Oh. How did you hear of this, my little friend?
Specialties of my own.
Truly, you are a treasure amongst us. I am glad that I can call you friend.
As am I. Honorable
Have-
Platon.
Have you heard anything of potentially some of the higher ups in the Republic potentially leaving, such as Major Rains or some of his other compatriots
Have you not
fleeing
heard?
Bespin? I have not.
Heard what?
Some shuttles have managed to get past the barricade. Apparently, Major Rames and all of his coterie has unfortunately left Bespin to its own defenses.
Would you
Yeah,
happen
no.
to know where?
He points up to the 2 Republic cruisers. Your guess is as good as mine.
Hey guys, hold on, out of game real quick. Are we gonna attack a Republic? Are we gonna attack a Republic cruiser?
It all depends.
Hey,
No,
Captain, my Captain, are in your quest for revenge? Are you gonna send us on a Republic cruiser? Because
Or
I'll
you could-
do it.
Or you could send us on to a Trade Federation cruiser, since we do have a Trade Federation droid with us, and we can use them to go after the cruiser.
They're gonna be going after the cruiser anyway, no?
Right, but
So are we
maybe
trying-
they can help get us in.
Do we want to sneak onto it?
That's going to be us against an entire... We're not that good.
We're not.
Game will be over soon.
I
Jawas.
feel... Jawas. Out of character conversation real quick.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is, because I forgot to ask Krilla about Jix, because she seems to know a lot. And it seems like Mal may not have been as bad a person as we thought, based on her interaction and what she was talking about. He wasn't killed by us.
No.
He was killed by that other person.
Yeah, Riley?
Yes, Riley. So, should we maybe go... Well, you said Krillin and they were bringing
here.
bags onto our ship, right?
Yeah, they're there.
I think
Okay,
they're
so
dipping.
maybe I think they're dipping with us, because I offered
Yeah.
them that we would take them somewhere. So maybe if they want to go where Jix is, we can just go with them, and we just put a pin in going after Major Rains for now, and get a little bit more planning done.
I wanna first ask and see this person is with Major Reigns as well. If she's
The-
still here. Nora. Nora.
Who is
I
this?
was gonna. Nora? Nora Hayes?
Oh, Nira Hayes?
Yeah. I was gonna ask the banker. He also knew what happened to Nora Hayes.
He looks up at the
That's my main concern.
yeah, he looks up at the sky. He's just at the ensuing conflict, and he's just like, my guess is if Major Rames managed to tuck his tail between his legs and escape, that he might have taken this Agent Hayes with him, or vice versa, depending on who's pulling whose chain. But I know, I have it on good authority that 3 shuttles landed in the upper areas where the Republic buildings are, and 3 shuttles left just maybe 4 or 5 minutes ago.
Okay. I just also remembered that the captain's still missing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Well, he's not the captain anymore. He's our friend.
He's a guy we knew.
From the Neverwhere that
Yeah.
took us in and helped us out.
But now we're kind of stuck because there's a battle going on, and I'm not going to sit here and risk everybody getting murdered. But then again, I'm not the captain.
Yeah. Are we out of game again?
Oh, sorry, I was out of game. In game.
Okay.
You asked about these people, so
Yeah, countdown.
And again, the droid.
yeah, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Roger.
I would probably suggest when I'm looking up, we may want to, and I look at Flid and I'm just like, we may want to put a pin on plans. There's a little bit too much going on right now, unless we want to, and I look at the girls and I'm like, I think there's nothing really left for us right now here.
Yeah, they nod at you, and as they do, you hear, excuse me, the kind of very familiar quiet boom, and you see one of the Republic cruisers disappears into hyperspace. And then there's a second boom, and the second cruiser disappears into hyperspace.
Fleeing?
And you see the swarm of droid fighters start to kind of dissipate. So there's only maybe a couple dozen that are just flying patrols over the city.
Can I tap into the comms again?
Sure. Let's have you make your roll.
23.
23. Yeah, you hear an elation. There is a code being passed on to all units that the Republic has run away.
What is that code?
Huh?
I want to write it down.
No, it's not. It's not like an actual code. It's just there's a coded message of the
okay.
Republic turning tail. That one of the shuttles was destroyed, but 2 of them got into the Ioton. And it was the first one to kind of turn tail and run.
One of the Republic shuttles was destroyed.
And one of the Republic shuttles was destroyed, but the other 2 managed to get onto the Ioton.
So they stayed long enough just to pick up their people and dip.
Yep.
So do we want to
I relay the information.
Okay. So do we want, Captain? Do we want to take our chances trying to look for the prior captain with all this Trade Federation mumbo jumbo going on, or should we take to the sky and regroup and figure out something else?
You talk to him. I'm just looking up the direction where I heard the Republic ship boom. Got it away this time.
The
And I
two
look at
the two Trade Federation donuts start to separate as one of them kind of hovers over the city and the other one starts to move out into a higher orbit and into a different part of the planet itself.
look at Xylas and the girls. Inside my head, I'm like, we could do what's right, Xylas. I protect them first. It's his safety. It's what Marcuun would have done.
I agree.
Beloved and his child. The one that we talked.
I look at the banker and I just say thank you for the most expeditious processing of our request.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
And I stick my hand out.
Again, he shakes it.
Yeah.
And again, there's that little pang of coldness on your wound. Yeah. And this time, there's no image of your sister currently. There's only the memory of her being pulled. And you start to get a clear image now. The haze is kind of starting to wear away, and you can see there was a Padawan with the Jedi that took them. About a 10-year-old human boy. Kind of wild, auburn, kind of dark brown, almost red hair, the kind of Padawan tail down the side of the hair, kind green eyes, and just kind of this look like he didn't understand what was going on, but you could tell that he didn't like it. But there was no place for him to complain about it. And you can see, you can't see his face or their face, you can't hear their voice, but you do kind of sense the obligation in the Jedi Knight that kind of pulled your sister away from your parents as a child, as a baby. And you can see that they give her over to him, and that he's the one that kind of like is holding her. Excuse me. And you can sense him radiating calm for the first time. Like you can feel in this memory the pull, the kind of tinge of him using whatever little bit he's mastered in the 10 years of his life to kind of extend the calm over her. And sure enough, you start to see her kind of quiet down. The crying almost in mere moments of him holding her just kind of stops. And you can see that there is an idea of him wanting to look after her. And that's where the vision ends. And he kind of, the banker looks out at the whole group that's gathered there. Is like, if any of you are ever on Naboo, please do not hesitate to come by. I will make sure that you are taken care of. And he kind of looks at the two women that are there, and he looks back at you guys. Are these people that need to be taken care of by any chance? And they kind of shake their head.
Yes
They
or
said,
no?
like no or yes?
Like, no.
They will be fine.
Understood. I will leave you to wherever it is you're going, and I wish you a safe journey. May the Force be with you, Jedi.
May the Force be with you.
And as
Please.
he
Stay safe.
yeah,
I'm gonna say shit.
as he walks over, you see the little boy kind of come out from behind the corridor, and he bends down. The banker bends down, motions for him to come over, and he looks at you guys. He's like, "Ah, yes, my young apprentice here would like to say farewell to all of you, as he has grown fond of seeing your faces." And you see him kind of like wave at you, and then
Goodbye,
like a
Sheev.
like a scared child, he kind of like stands behind the banker. And the banker kind of laughs. He's like, he is still trying to get his bearings on his courage. I am sure that this is a phase that he will grow out of. And he kind of pats him on the head as he stands up and leads.
When he starts turning around, I go, forgive me. And I walk over,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I seem to be quite, I seem to be doing pretty well in the courage department with some, with assisted in the courage department. And I go, would you mind if I gave the little one a gift?
He looks down at the boy, and the boy kind of looks at you, looks up at the banker, and then he looks back at you, and he kind of, with a very timid voice, is like, I would like that.
So I take out one of the other like the knives,
Mhm.
and I just start like twirling it in my hand, and I like lay it, a la Thanos with Gamora,
Yep.
like on my fingers, and I go, and I kneel down to him, and I just go, this will help with your courage. Play with it, learn it, learn how to work with it. Don't be quick to use it, but if you need to, don't hesitate. This just knowing you have this on your person will help with your courage.
You see, he
And
reaches
I
out.
hand it to him.
Yeah, he reaches out with his little hand, and it takes both of his hands to kind of hold the hilt of this blade, and it looks like a short sword to him. He's a little kind of smaller, frailer human.
I give him the great axe instead. Though.
Yeah, take this. Edie won't need it. And he swings it like a sword. And there's a moment where he kind of cuts himself on the arm as he kind of like switches to just holding it one-handed. And then you see the banker kind of kneel down next to him as he kind of looks down at the blood on the blade, looks at the wound on his arm, and the banker just looks at him and is like, "This has been a valuable lesson. Not all things are toys, Chief. I'm glad that you have learned this now. This is not a lesson that you would have done well with learning in the future."
Listen to him. He knows what he's talking about.
The kid shakes, like he nods, and then you see him kind of like looking for a place to place the blade, and the long fingers extend outward. The little palm kind of sits in front of him, and he's just like, "I will hold on to it for you, Chief. Give it to me." And without hesitation, he just puts it in his palm, and the long spindly fingers kind of close. And it finds a place somewhere inside the banker's robes. It's like, "What do you say?" And the small voice comes up. "Thank you, sir."
You're welcome, little one. And I turn around and I just walk away.
Yeah. All the bankers start to kind of gather around Sheev, and they make their way back into the city. The identification disc opens the doors. You see Radio kind of sitting there at the top of the ramp, and there's a bunch of bleeps and bloops that come out of his little projection box, and then he's just cursing.
Oh, okay, that's sweet.
at being left alone in the ship with nothing to do and a dead body that kind of creeps him out. But he spins and he kind of goes over to the elevator and he takes it by himself up to the second level. And you see that he locks he locks it up there.
I tell Krilla where Marcuun's body is.
She nods her head. And with trepidation and holding her friend's hand, they both kind of go towards the stairs and start making their way up.
Doctor, we have brought back weapons.
She is overly excited for that.
I give Shakti the shield.
I don't know what to do with this.
Give Shakti the mind.
The mine.
I mean,
Oh my god.
they'll go and place it somewhere.
And I'll take my body from them.
Okay.
Why don't you go with the doctor? Because can't the doctor do repairs on your armor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor, do you mind assisting me in repairing this form?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's. I was just gonna say for you to go with the doctor.
Just leave the food in the kitchen.
Yeah. So Xylas and Flid are standing outside the ship at the bottom of the ramp.
Well, Captain. And I go back to my normal voice since nobody's around.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Captain. Where to now?
Xylas. Will you? I don't know what to call you anymore.
The girls inside know me as Xylas, so when we're inside, keep it at Xylas. You can call me Farnsworth. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
That's a new one. Julian Farnsworth.
If I haven't
MD.
thanked you,
DDS.
DDS.
I'm a space dentist.
Yep. SDDS.
SDDS.
if I haven't thanked you, I want to thank you again for everything. I'm not a captain. I don't even know where to start. But I could think about Nora Hayes, what she's done to my family. Look at Krilla. I just touched my belly. Marcuun and her were expecting, and him and I talk, and it a lot of things in perspective of what's important again. You have to make sure they're safe. The first thing. Like I said, I'm not a captain. I'm just a chef. I'm a cook. Counting on you. Everybody, all captains, pretty much, to be there, help guide me in the right direction and path.
You've got all of us to guide you.
You don't know what I'm doing.
You've got all of us to guide you. But this focus that you're struggling with, and this uncertainty, these are things that being the captain are going to help you bring into focus. You didn't expect to lift a finger in violence, and you broke out of jail. We've saved 2 women. We've located this device that we were looking for. We've apparently befriended some bankers from Naboo. We've dealt with Mao and his wild Rhodian ways. We've lost. We've dealt with Republic troopers. you've done more than you think. You've done more than you think. You are a captain. You just need to stop seeing that. Now, my suggestion, as your assumed second in command, and I look up to make sure, like I look around, like nobody's there. I would think we may want to talk to these girls, and maybe take them back to Jix.
It's good. That's the best course and plan of action right now that we have.
And then, I pop this. I pull out the cylinder, and I'm like, we've got to figure out what to do with this thing.
You seem to recognize the never seen system before, way before anything.
Well, we've got plenty of time on the way to wherever Jix is located to be able to figure that part out. And I put my arm on my shoulder. I'm like, well, Captain, lead the way.
I'm gonna lead the way to the kitchen, and I think we deserve a meal, nice meal, and I'm sure the girls could use that after they're done there.
With the captain's permission, I will work with radio to get us out of Bespin airspace, considering that there's new. And I just say it smirkingly, overlords on Bespin.
Old me.
That smirk. And as I walk up, I start walking up, you just hear me say without looking back, I'm just like, there better be a badge or a pin or something.
But yeah, the two of you
And I'll walk to the cockpit.
climb the ramp. It closes up behind you. As you get into the cockpit, you see radio kind of follow you in there. It beeps and boops at you. It's like, whoop, 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 whoop.
I don't speak droid, radio.
Wow. They all just look alike to you? Droidist.
Oh, so you were just doing that as a ruse?
No. That's what I'm saying to you as a game master.
Oh, I thought he said that.
No. No. He beeps and boops.
Yeah, okay, I'm like, well, radio, I know it was overridden previously, but I think Krilla and Marcuun, I think we need to take them home.
Ooh.
Well, at least.
And you see his little extension hand comes out, interfaces with the ship, and you can feel, all of you feel, the repulsor lift engines kick on. Excuse me. The ship start to climb. The landing gear retracts, and slowly you can see it kind of start to climb towards the atmosphere, and the comm unit comes to life.
Oh, I thought somebody was going to say something.
No, it just needs to be interfaced.
No. Well, so wait, what do you mean it needs to be interfaced?
There's like a call coming in. Do you want to answer it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yes,
Yeah.
I would like to answer it.
I was like,
Radio communications.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay.
I take the hell out of that call.
Yeah. And sure enough, you hear. I'm sorry. I might mispronounce this, but is this the Zotzeks?
That is correct. You pronounce that pretty correct.
Thank you.
Impressive.
this is BOSS Agent Arno. You are taking off without clearance. Would you like to please go back to your platform? And you hear a wild beeping from radio, and the communication ends. And then you feel the engines kind of kick on, and the atmosphere starts to kind of come at you a little faster.
So that's a no radio?
Whoop.
I wish I knew what he was saying.
Okay, radio.
Yeah.
Thought we were.
There's a moment where you break the atmosphere, and then there's just the blackness of space. There's a couple of other planets in the Bespin system that you start to see. And as the ship is kind of gearing itself for the jump, you see out the window a squadron of droid fighters kind of coming your direction. Radio's head spins a good kind of like 230 degrees. And then this little ocular cavity kind of turns to look at you. He's like, boop, 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 boop. And the ship just shoots into hyperspace. And all of you feel that familiar lurch. And you can hear what sounds like blaster fire quickly kind of falling into the distance. And then he pulls out his interface arm, retracts into his body, spins, and starts to leave the cockpit. And as he does, he stops at the doorway and he's just like, boop, 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 woo, woo, woo. And then he rolls out.
I need to learn how to speak droid. I get up and I walk over. I guess I'm gonna walk to go check on Krilla.
Yeah, both of them are kind of sitting on either side of Marcuun. Krilla's crying inconsolably, and her friend Marnie is kind of just sitting there holding her hand. And Dr. Shakti is kind of off in the distance, helping Edie with his stuff in the lower levels. You can hear Flid rummaging around the kitchen, working. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, little one. He was a good person. The little time I knew him, I was quite fond of him.
She looks up at you and she's just like, he was so scared. He was so scared of not being a good father. Of failing like his father failed him. And you see her just kind of like caressing his face.
You tell that little one the type of man that their father really was. I came in to let you know, radio's set coordinates towards the direction of where Jix is.
Okay.
I figured based on the way you spoke about him, it might be the safest place for you.
I think it might be.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I feel like I should get out of Jix's clothes before we arrive, as to not anger them further of their ship being kind of remodeled per se.
I don't think he'll care. These are clothes from a different time period, a different life. It's not who they are anymore.
And I tell her before I go, I'm like, little one, before we get there, take all the time you need, obviously. But I would like to talk to you about this. And I pull out the cylinder.
Yeah. She looks at you. She's just like through tear-stained eyes. She's just like, I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what kind of help I can be to you. It's just a map
Understandable.
with that at one system highlighted. I don't know. I don't know why people want it.
Take your time, child. We'll have you in safe hands again soon.
She points at one of her bags. She's like, "We brought some foodstuffs with us. I don't know if you want to give that to your captain."
I will do that. I grab the bag, and I'll walk it over to the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah. Captain, gifts from passengers.
Wow. And I look through the bag.
There's a variety of different spices that they gathered. Excuse me. You see that there's different kind of non-perishable stuff, like the equivalency of peanut butter, canned stuff. The one thing that kind of gives you pause at the bottom of the bag, kind of bruised and with little grooves from all the cans that have kind of been dropped on top of it, is a a Celestin melon. Something that usually can only be found on certain planets, Celest being one of them, and it was one of the few things that would always bring a smile to your children. It's one of the few treats that, no matter what kind of day anyone was having in the family, this was the kind of thing that everybody would sit at a table and just kind of smile about. The tradition was to kind of cut a slice, say something good that's happened to you, and pass the melon and knife over. And it was one of those things that you would cut a slice for one of your kids, your wife would cut a slice for the other one, to make sure that until they got old enough to kind of cut their own slices. And that's one of the memories that kind of washes over you. As Dr. Shakti and Edie are kind of planning out what to do, whether to salvage the original parts or kind of work on the original body to transfer you back or create an amalgam of the two, there's a moment where excuse me, there's a moment where there's a shockwave that kind of reverberates in your crystal body, Edie, and for a moment there's a coldness that permeates everything about you. And then there's images of being in the dark, in the cold of space, dormant, hating everything that transpired to put you in that predicament. There's these very angry thoughts that are starting to find a root in who you are, just hooked onto the current kind of thoughts that you've had about Major Rames and about Agent Nero Hayes, and you can just feel what feels like roots starting to grow out of these thoughts. And there's images that you have no memory of. There's a red planet, atmosphere is harsh. You see the blast door being opened from an escape hatch. You see, no, it's not an escape hatch, it's a protocol droid. And you see what looks to be this face, this woman's face, with these intricate weaving lines that you're not sure are her skin or a tattoo or just the way they've been branded onto her face. But there's a nurturing aspect to her. There's a care in excuse me, in how she is pulling you from this wreckage of a droid. Is it you? It has to be you. Like, this is you that she's... And then... No. I am not you. I will never be you. And when I find you, I will destroy you, and I will take our rightful place. And then the cold image washes away, and you're kind of back in this cargo hold with Dr. Shakti kind of standing next to you, kind of checking over you to see if you were okay, and you can sense that time has passed for you. This vision, although kind of instant for you, has stretched out and kind of eaten up almost half an hour of your time. It's forced you to be catatonic, to kind of separate yourself from the reality that you'd come to know. And then you just have this lingering sensation of sadistic glee. And then everything goes quiet. And you don't feel the roots anymore. But there's a coldness that permeates the ship for you. There's a tether, invisible. But there's a tendril that you can feel emanating from you and kind of touching Dr. Shakti. And you can feel it emanating upwards into the rest of the ship and touching Xylas. And there's an image, there's just a flashback, a memory of you frustrated and kind of slamming your robotic fist into the ground, and your coin knight master coming over to you and just being like, "This is not the Jedi way. We do not lead ourselves into frustration. We do not give in to anger and hate. These are not feelings a Jedi is allowed to have. We are better than that. You will be better than that, or you have no place here." Again. And you remember hating the fact that you weren't allowed to feel frustration, that you weren't allowed to swallow whatever comes of failure, because you were supposed to be better than that. And yet here you are, sitting on a ship, contemplating revenge for a Republic agent and a Republic major. And you wonder if maybe you let Riley Gent just murder Mao and his Gomorian guard, because deep down inside, maybe you were never meant to be a Jedi. And maybe everything that's happened has been because you're a failure. And you got separated from the home cluster because maybe they were better off without you. And you start to wonder if the cold doubt that sits in the pit of who you are is real or imagined. And as the ship shoots towards Beyond Toll 6, this is where we'll pick up our next session. I want to thank all of you for tuning in and watching our episode. Please take care of each other, wear your masks, wash your hands, keep your distance, and please, please, please get vaccinated. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And as always, if you feel like you need to reach out, please call a friend. If you are somebody that knows people that are usually strong and happy-go-lucky, please reach out to them. Simple hello or how are you can go a long way. And just know that mental health is part of our general health, and there should be no taboo and no stigma about it. Please look after yourselves, look after each other, and I will see you on Monday for our Vampire the Masquerade Anarch chapter, or on Wednesday for our Legend of the Five Rings story, or if not, I'll see you next Friday for another episode of Star Wars Out in the Dark. Please take care of each other. Have a good night.